to. So we're doing it now. But as you can see, here's a dashboard for the rig. The main dashboard for the Mining OS is here, and it just gives you a snapshot of power usage, Dynex price, and then mining, hash rate. Did recently have a rig restart, and the number of shares per hour over the last few days. To go on your rigs, just click on rigs, click on the rig you want to get into, and then here's the details of the rig that I have on here. And it shows you some stats at the top: max temp, max fan speed, workers. That is referring to GPUs the way MMPOS does it, because that's the way they do their billing. They bill by per GPU, not per rig. So it works out to be less than a cent per GPU, so per day. So a 6-card rig will cost you about $1.50 a month, but you do get a 8-card rig free every day. But a 6-card rig thereafter would cost you about $1.50, and 8-card rig will cost you about $2. So it is cheaper than Hive OS as far as that goes. Let me refer to some notes here quick. Yep, and then once you actually make an initial purchase, so we'll go over here to pricing, include 8 free credits a day. After your first purchase, then you get 14 credits free per day. And if you have a shit ton of GPUs, contact them and they'll give you some special pricing. And then you get a 25% bonus when you buy some, and then refer friends and get 10% of their purchase while also giving them a 10% bonus. But here you can buy 180 credits, enough to use 6 GPUs for 30 days. So, but anyway, let's go back to the actual rig itself and get into some of the details. We'll go over some of the things I like, some of the things I don't like. Well, I guess we'll start off with some of the things I like, actually. If you go down here to the GPUs, it has some of your hash rate, your temperatures, your fan speeds. ASIC is the hotspot temperature in the card, so it gives you that information as well. This is a 2070, so it's not going to report memory temps, but I would think if I believe 2080 Ti's, because my 2080 Ti's and Hive will report memory temps, so that would report here, and then GDDR6X cards would also report it, and would probably show there. And then your clock speeds, memory clocks, wattage being used, and then here's the other thing that you won't see in Hive is the voltage that the cards are running at. So as you change this core offset, it's going to actually adjust the voltage in here, because if you remember back to my first video, the core offset was not set, and those voltages were around 0.8, 0.82, somewhere around there. And then by adding the core offset of 90, it dropped the voltages. But I'm just saying, let's go mess around. Let's bump this up to 105. I'm just going to apply it to this card. Let's see if it does anything. I might have to restart the rig for it to take effect. So let's see, because usually with core offsets you might have to do that. So let's actually do that. Stable miner. And we're just going to reboot their whole rig. Click yes. And sometimes this may take a while, but it might not too long, but it will take a little bit. But on the buttons up across here too, you have your general settings, switch miner profile, which is, if you're used to Hive, is like switch flight sheet. Restart just the miner itself. Stop mining. Remote console is like your Hive shell start, if you use familiar terms. Because once we use a software for so long, we get kind of complacent with the how it functions and everything like that. So this has a lot of the same features as Hive. It's just laid out and worded a little bit differently. So it works just as well. And then the reboot rig when we already did, and then shut down the rig is right there. So we'll give this some time to start back up. But then some of the things, like I said down here. Oh, and maybe I didn't. Maybe I should hit save OC changes. Oops. See, still learning. But we give this some time to reboot, and we'll come back when it's fires back up again. Alrighty, and we're back. The rig has restarted. It doesn't show there in a chart yet, but it is up and running. It's been up and running for like 5 minutes or so. And the voltages really didn't change, 'cause I guess that is a small change as far as the core offset goes, so it didn't really fluctuate all that much. Considering when it went from 0 offset to 90, it only changed like 0.04, so probably wasn't enough to warrant a change in the voltages, but not sure what else. I mean, I had to change it more, but I don't want to keep on messing around with it and keep rebooting the rig and whatnot. I'm going to get through this video and I can mess around with things a little bit more. But anyway, it's getting to some other features of the Hive, or not the Hive OS, MMPOS. So used to saying Hive because I've used Hive for how many years now. But down here with some of the settings, if you notice these buttons here, these are the overclock buttons for the individual cards. So if you click this, it brings you in here where you have the slider where you can adjust the core offset, core clock frequency, memory clock offset, so on and so forth, and power limit the card. You can apply it to this individual card, or you can apply it similar, and it's going to apply it to all the same type of cards in the rig, which that's kind of nice. And then you can load a preset. So if you have a preset saved, which I did save one for 2070s, the 1470s lock core, 90 offset, and then give you the details, apply preset, or remove it. And then you can also save whatever you have here as a preset. Just hit that as a new preset, name it, and then create new preset, and you're good. And then your overclock settings, you'd have a profile basically set for that. The button up here, it looks fairly similar, has the same type of little logo. It's a different color, but it still has the same logo, but it could be a little confusing. To me, it is. Because plus, it also, if you're used to using Hive, you have like the overclock all button above the top here, and then you have the individual cards there. So initially when I went in here, I thought this was the overclock settings for all of them, but it's not. It is basically like a minor settings, which you have your default configuration. You can turn huge pages on and off, force P0 state, and you also have the fan management toggle where you could toggle it on and off, and set it on auto fan, fixed fan speed, all that type of stuff. And just hit update and it'll save that. So my personal opinion, I think that maybe should be changed to like either like a little fan logo or a little cog wheel for settings, kind of like settings is up here as a little cog. Maybe to do a similar button down here because it's further apart, so you might not be able to confusing. You hover over that, it says general settings. You hover over that, it doesn't say anything. So maybe that would help if you just have like either hover over it and have a little message come up and says what it is, or even just change the icon to something different because it doesn't do what these do. And then this little folder, you load your presets. I think I already mentioned that one, but that is another thing. Like those little buttons there, I would change. And we go into minor profiles, which if you're used to Hive is what your flight sheet is. So you click on that. See, I have a couple in here. I was messing around with different stuff. But to create a new one, you click Add Profile. Name it whatever you want. I didn't do a radiant one, so let's do a radiant one. Oops. Let's do radiant. Minor. I don't remember which one. This is the other thing that I prefer. Like Hive, I think does a little bit better. So when you select a minor or a algorithm or a coin, it kind of narrows down the minor software that will work for that particular. All right. All right. So now we're in my farm. Now let's go to, let's see, flight sheets that I have set up. I know where I can get this information. Go to this flight sheet. Configure this in the minor. Second coin. And believe it or not, where I'm in Pennsylvania, the ping on ViperNet for Radiant is my best option. It's a nice thing with that ViperNet pool. It actually lets you know what your ping is and what your best bet would be for that particular. What's his face? For that particular region or whatnot. I was trying to say. As far as your ping, add pool. We are going to do Viper-Radiant. And what is the port? 5067. 5067. And we need to add a wallet. So we're going to do Radiant. Core. And I have to go to wallets. Wallets. And Radiant. Copy and paste that. So this was a little more, I mean, wallets, once you have them set up, you have them set up. The same thing, I guess, once you do have the pool set up, you do have the pool set up. You don't have to keep doing this over and over and over again. But the wallet setup is pretty much the same between MMPOS and Hive. The flight sheet and pool setup is a little more involved because you do have to copy and paste the stratums and the port numbers and all that fun stuff. So it's a little bit more work, but just click create and create profile. So there, that's all there is to that. Now if I wanted to switch profiles, I just go back into my rig, and I believe it's this one. Yeah, and I can just select whatever profile I want to start mining Radiant. And this gives you all the, turn them all on. So I didn't mine that one. I wonder if this is how, if I set a, I'll have to mess around with this as far as to be able to CPU mine and GPU mine at the same time on the same rig. Okay, I was trying to mess around with it. As you can see, I'll go back into here. Let's go into miner profiles. I was trying to set up mining in Raptorium as well, but I could not figure it out. As far as a secondary coin, I was trying to add in Raptorium here, but it would not let me. That's more of a dual mining argument in this area, not for like a GPU miner and a CPU miner. So, but just noticing up here with miner profiles, I might be able to, let's go through and do this. Let's create a miner profile, add a new one, which is called RTM, Raptorium. We do XM Rig Ghost Rider, latest version. I already had the pool in there. Create profile. Now, let's go back to rigs. Go here. Click switch profile. There we go. See, that's how you do it. I just figured, I just done learned something here while making this video. So that is actually how you just create a separate miner profile for the CPU coin that you want to mine. And if you notice how this is green, that's for CPU, and then that's for NVIDIA GPUs. Let's hit switch. And this will take a bit to restart. There's one thing I did notice, the restart times are a little slower than Hive as well. I guess so I'm watching some other people's videos, like Mining King, for example, had a video on it, and there was like his ping time out in Arizona too. I guess their servers is like 500 milliseconds, and so it takes some time for the information to travel back from the U.S. to Europe. So some of the changes are slow. Because I did notice the console, when you're loading the console, it's a slow go. It takes a little bit to load that console up. But once it's up, it's up. But so we're going to see this guy restart. And we'll be back when she's back up. And we are back up and running, as you can see. Let me give this a refresh. Go back to dashboard. Go back to here. And the chart still has to like refresh there, but Raptorium hash rate, shares accepted, software that's running, profile, and pool. So that is all up and running. It shows the hash rates and stuff down here. So yeah, I just learned how to CPU mine and GPU mine with this, because actually before I was messing around with these before, and I was trying to figure it out all in the same profile, and I could not figure it out, and I was wondering what I was doing wrong, because I figured you would be able to do that, but I just couldn't figure out how. But that's exactly how you do it. You just set up a separate profile for the CPU coin you want to mine, and just apply both profiles to your rig, and it will CPU mine and GPU mine. So, because I had this i3 just mining on Raptorium, the hash rate's not high at all, but for whatever reason I was just mining on it to flock pool, and then also just once I receive a payout, just sending that payout to inodes. I have 120,000 or so Raptorium in inodes for over a year now, somewhere around there. Just let it sit in there and keep building. I haven't really been doing much for it with it, but anyway. So we got this kind of figured out. Let me check my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything that I wanted to cover. I can actually cross out the second miner instance. Talked about the overclocking and the buttons. Oh yes, I think I may have mentioned it, but I'll mention it again. Just if you have Intel GPUs, MMPOS does support them, and SRB miner is one main miner to do it. And it costs about the pricing and price difference. And like an 8-car rig, like $3 in high versus $2 shear, which sounds like it's only $1 a month. It's nothing. But as percentages terms, that's 33% less. So that's not an insignificant amount if you look at it in percentage terms. So, so I think I do have a bunch of credits left in Hive. I have $90 left in there, so I do have a little over 3 months left. So I think I may actually start migrating some stuff over, because hey, it's cheaper, and the way I mine stuff is like I don't bounce around from coin to coin to coin, so I wouldn't have to be switching profiles and creating profiles all the time. I pretty much get on something and I stay on it for a while. So hey, if I can save money, I can save money. So, but I do have a lot of, like I said, $90 in there, so I'm gonna gradually let that dwindle down, and then maybe as time goes by, just gradually add one more rig to MMPOS, and just put more rigs on here, just because hey, it's cheaper, it works, and I like some of the stuff I like about it. I think that some of the stuff about the information that you get as far as voltages and stuff like that, you could fine tune your rigs probably even more, and you spend more time on testing and things like that. It allows you to dive deeper into that type of stuff. Whereas like some of the negatives, like the setting up a profile and the pools and stuff like that, it's just not really a negative. It's just a few more steps than it would be in the Hive. So, like once you have them set up, they're set up. You don't have to really do anything else. So, I do kind of like it. So, and I figured that part out. That was one thing I wasn't sure about. And then, yeah, the other thing, I wonder what the pricing on a CPU rig would be, which I guess is that would probably count as like one GPU, I would think. Probably. No, we'll figure that out. We'll see how that works out. Maybe it counts as a CPU, as a miner, as a unit, or a worker. So I might do that. But don't mind my dogs are barking at nothing outside or growling and grumbling at something. But anyway, we're going to end the video here before they start carrying on even more. So until the next one, catch us later.